obviously go towards helping the channel out. But look, guys, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Please subscribe. I'm in such a good mood. Such a good mood.
Any
oh
words, Lydia?
Hello, Lydia. Hello.
I love that. What we do need to set up, I don't know if you can do it. Do you want to set up the background? Although I don't know if we can. But we haven't set up.
If you can send me the thumbnail, but I can. Oh, Sam needs a link. So we can get Sam in.
Hang on, I'll send it to him.
Lovely.
Tell him to get on Twitter.
Sorry?
Tell him to check. No, I can tell him.
So Lucas Fabianski has the ball in his hand.
This is very, 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 very defensive from West Ham. Very, very defensive. Here we go. Coutinho charging in. Ooh, well done, Creswell. Creswell heads it out for a corner. That was dodgy. It's going to be a long afternoon, gents. A long afternoon. So Wolves' third corner of the game in just over 12 minutes. Absolutely ridiculous. And we knew they were going to be absolutely all over us. Just the corner comes in. Noble heads it out. Sorry, Creswell heads it out. I'm getting confused with him with his haircut. No, it was Noble. It was Noble. Just the ball comes back into the net and safely gathered by Fabianski. So, according to the BBC, for the last 12 and a half minutes, as Noble is exactly Noble, exactly. He's asking, where is everybody? Where am I supposed to play it? Antonio gets the ball. It's Bowen. Noble. Fornells. Noble. Ngakia. Back through to Noble, who's passing it back to Diop, who passes it through to... No, it's back to Noble. He goes a long ball up to Anderson. Fornal, sorry, but who absolutely slices it. Something chronic. Honestly. That could have been a great goal then. That could have really, really been a great goal. Absolutely slices it. Mark says, great pass, Nobes, agreed. Poor finish. Fornals, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's a real shame because that was a golden opportunity then. If we could have been 1-0 up now, that would have been a goal. That would have been a goal and a half. That really would have been.
Cross coming in, dealt with easily.
Derby, only 3 points. Yeah, it's interesting, the old championship. We've got a game tomorrow. Come join us. A bit of an early one. Well, especially if you're fucking hungover. 12 p.m, 5 to 12, 11:55 a.m. UK time. I'll be live. Leeds are away at Cardiff. Another 4 watch-alongs. Some good games tomorrow. If you're free, come join us. Antonio with the header flicks it on. Sunshine comes on the better. I can't believe he didn't start. Is he injured or something, or took a knock, whatever? Very surprised he hasn't started. Wolves in midfield, looking out wide. Once again, Moutinho. Moutinho's a good player as well.
The Wolverhampton Wanderers goalkeeper. Talk Sport, still West Ham 0, Wolves 0. Alvin Martin.
Felipe Anderson is a really talented player, Clive. I love him. When he's on form, he's brilliant. But I just wish he'd have a little bit more of what Jared Bowen's got as well. When he loses the ball, Jared Bowen, he's desperate to win it back. We've already praised him 2 or 3 times defending in his own penalty area. A little bit more of that, because if there was a crowd here today and they were West Ham, they want to see that as well.
Anderson hasn't played very much for David Moyes since his return to the club. Jota inside the West Ham penalty area again and forces a smart save, no more than that, out of Fabianski. I think he was caught in two minds as to whether to cross or to shoot, and in the end it was a cross shot which didn't carry enough venom to worry Fabianski, who has the ball in his hands as the shadows of the Olympic roof start now to cover the field. Fabianski awaiting options on the edge of his penalty area, looking for somebody to call. You get to know who the noisy ones are, don't you? It's often said by the older generation that there are not enough talkers in the game today. Bossy boots, mouthy motivators. There were plenty in Alvin Martin's day, and there's no excuse now for not hearing the manager's instructions. You can't do that one where you put your hand to your ear and say, sorry, Gaffer, I couldn't hear for the crowd. You've never done anything like that, Alvin.
Players, I'm sure, wouldn't do that, Clive. I remember a coach we had, Mick McGibbon. I cocked a deafening whenever he said anything.
Not in these circumstances, you couldn't. 0-0 at the London Stadium. Moutinho has the ball. Squared in Neves, out to the left-hand side in Saiz, and now Johnny on the touchline, halted by Ngakia as he tried to fool him and go past him, and it came last off the Spanish fullback. And West Ham United will have the throw-in. Fascinating situation for Jeremy Ngakia. He was injured for much of the first half of the season. He's not 20 until September. Just 4 senior games for West Ham, but out of contract in 10 days' time. Already being linked with, well, you name it, Liverpool, Arsenal, a couple of German clubs. It's maybe his agent getting busy. He's got until Tuesday to negotiate a new short-term extension with West Ham. Otherwise, this will be his last game for the club. Cody on the ball for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Edge of the centre circle, plays a great diagonal. Jota takes it first time inside the penalty area. Diogo Jota sets up Raul Jimenez, and it's charged down by Ngakia. And it's another corner kick to Wolverhampton Wanderers. That was dangerous, Alvin.
Well, another great ball by Cody. Started off in his own half, Clive. You know, inch-perfect ball. But I've got to say, Jota's been outstanding in this first phase. This first half an hour, he's on the ball constantly. His touch has been perfect. You know, again, there he's made half a chance. I've got to say that West Ham have done really well to keep it 0-0 on some occasions here.
It is still
they've asked a lot of questions.
33 minutes gone. It is 0-0. But another Wolves corner. Moutinho from the left-hand side to the far post, where it's headed away by Souček. Kept alive by Jimenez. It goes back to Neves, midway inside the West Ham half. Hopefully back into the penalty area. It's going to come all the way, though, for Moutinho, and Jota goes for goal again. Well, he was out for much of January with an injury, Diogo Jota, but he came back with a bang, scored a hat-trick against Espanyol, then 3 in his next 2 Premier League game, and some assists. The Portuguese international who was with Nuno at Porto and is almost the unsung star of this very, very impressive Wolverhampton Wanderers unit, and that's what they are, a team, a unit. They have 2 formations, 3-4-3, 3-5-2. Interesting that Adama Traore has been left out of the starting 11 today in order to have the 3-5-2 option, but I'm sure we'll see Traore before this evening is out. Wolves have a throw-in, 15 metres inside their own half the field. As I said before the game, Alvin, if there is one player in the entire Premier League you wouldn't want to face as a tired defender coming on fresh with half an hour to play, it might just be Adama Traore.
Absolutely, and you know, the fact that he's got, you know, the likes of Liverpool interested in him, if we believe what's in the papers, etc. But look, he's a fantastic player, and I'm sure Aaron Cresswell would have been relieved not to see him on the starting lineup, but know that it's more than an option for later on in the game. But you're right about Wolves, that they are a complete team, and what I love about them, the movement that they show for each other. Whenever anyone's got the ball, especially in the wide areas, there's always a fullback overlapping them, and it gives you something to think about. If you're facing them up as a defender, you haven't just got to worry about the man on the ball, you've also got to worry about somebody overlapping, and it's the 2 elements of defending that make it much more difficult.
And the early games have been quite technical, tactical matches, played almost to the manager's scripts for the most part. But this game has a real wild card in Mikel Antonio and another on the bench in Adama Traore, highly individual talents who tear up scripts and play it their way. Wolves coming forward again. Jimenez on the edge of the West Ham penalty area, shot charged down by Declan Rice. But you feel as if West Ham are hanging in a little bit when Wolves come forward. There's a smooth fluency about the visitors. West Ham doing just enough defensively to keep it. West Ham United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0 on TalkSport with Nissan Commercial Vehicles built to deliver. And Ngakia just inside the Wolves half of the field, sidesteps Moutinho, feeds it forward, and now Mark Noble can get his head up, feeds it square to Fornals. Cresswell arriving on the overlap, his cross is deflected behind for a corner, and that was a very impressive West Ham United move. They were opening doors all over the place there.
They all started with Ngakia. You know, he's showed a lovely little turn of foot there to make a bit of space, slip the ball into Noble, and the football that followed that, you know, was really impressive. Again, Wolves, you got to say, defended it really well because they were stretched for a moment there.
West Ham had this corner on the left-hand side. 9 minutes of the first half remaining. 13 goals in the Premier League since the restart. 11 in the second half, just 2 in the first half. Noble takes this one, swinging in towards Rui Patricio, who gathers it well under pressure from Souček, and is able to wait his moment to clear his lines.
I think West Ham probably think as well Souček is somebody that is capable of scoring with his head, certainly in the air, and but you've got to have good possession again around the final third to be able to get him running from midfield with a view to giving an aerial threat.
He was leading goal scorer for Slavia Prague before his loan move to West Ham in January. A loan move that has now been extended to the end of the new season, the new end of the old season, if you know what I mean. Still 0-0. Rice in possession inside the centre circle. His last man for West Ham and under pressure from Jimenez, so he goes back to Fabianski in goal. If you are just joining us, West Ham have come out of lockdown with 1 or 2 injury headaches. No Ogbonna this evening, no Allaire this evening. Players like Snodgrass and Masuaku, who might have figured, also injured. Zavaleta is another who's running out of contract and doesn't figure this evening. And Ngakia coming forward, midway inside the Wolves half of the field. Wolves are at full strength. Anderson, back to Ngakia. Heels on the touchline, trying to step away from Johnny, who did enough to confuse Ngakia, who in the end knocked the ball out of play himself and conceded a throw into Wolverhampton Wanderers 25 metres from the corner flag on the left-hand side, one that Johnny Otto will take. Spanish international just waiting for movement ahead of him. It's one back by Diop, and Souček onto Bowen, who was being held there by Saiz, but the referee saw nothing untoward, and Neves plays it square to Bolly, and Doherty can come forward for Wolves on the right-hand side. Bolly back to Cody, midway inside his own half of the field. Square to Saiz, fed down the touchline where Jimenez has drawn wide and now runs at West Ham. Played infield. It's a clever little pass from Jota across from Johnny, headed down by Dendoncker, but West Ham again reacted well. Hit first time by Saiz, and it was an awkward one. It was a very speculative one. It was all of 35 metres out, but it bounced rather awkwardly in front of Fabianski, who eventually fielded it. Still 0-0. We've got 6 minutes of the first half remaining here. We've still got live commentary to come on the evening match between Bournemouth and Crystal Palace here on Game Day on TalkSport. Earlier we heard Watford and Leicester swap late goals at Vicarage Road, 1-1 that game, and then Brighton and Hove Albion came from behind to beat Arsenal 2-1 with a late winner from Neil Mopai. Live commentary on both of those games here on TalkSport, and now here with Clyde Tilsley and Alvin Martin inside the London Stadium for you, watching for you here on TalkSport, until you can come and fill this place with your colour and noise. Antonio down towards Anderson. It'll run for Jared Bowen. Hooked away though by Saiz. Back for Anderson midway inside the Wolves half. Noble coming forward, trying to feed it into Bowen again. Cresswell had made a good run on the far side, and Gakia sweeps it across the face of goal, but it's a rather wild cross, and it beats everybody and bounces out on the far side for a throw-in. Are you surprised Ngakia is playing today in the circumstances, Arvin?
Well, I know that he's impressed, certainly during the lockdown.
A very promising right back forward. Ben Johnson, 20 years of age, is on the bench today after one or two injury problems this season. So they make me feel as if they are well served in that particular position. They're on the ball, but inside their own half. It's still 0-0 on TalkSport. Melbourne Square to Declan Rice, who certainly hasn't had an illicit haircut during the break. Declan has got a bush of hair. I think one or two players have, I hate to point fingers, but I suspect there might have been a little bit of illicit coiffeuring going on behind the scenes. Certainly Roy Keane didn't let us down last night, did he, with his haircut, but one or two of them looked a little tailored and manicured to really believe their partners are all expert hairdressers, but that's just a suspicion.
Certainly a few bouffants about, and I think my son's among them as well.
West Ham are on the ball with a cleverly worked short free kick. Noble to Cresswell. High hanging cross towards the head of Souček, who's won it. Turned away by Dendoncker though. Only as far as Fornals. Noble almost caught in possession there. Neves nearly got to him. It is a West Ham throw-in just inside the Wolves half of the field. Ruben Neves, who like Adama Traore has been linked with Liverpool in the last few days, got out quickly there. Antonio's on the ball now, trying to exchange passes with Fornals. It's cleared downfield. Diop gathers, and West Ham can come again with Noble out to the right-hand side, and Gakia midway inside the Wolves half. That's a telling cross into the box, and Bolly did very, very well just to help it on its way. Only as far as Aaron Cresswell into the near post. Cleared again under pressure by Willy Bolly. Lovely ball forward by Moutinho, and Wolverhampton Wanderers can counter with Diogo Jota. Held up by Noble but not dispossessed. Jota is still coming forward for Wolves. Just lost his way a little bit, looking for support. Comes from Matt Doherty. Now Neves, but West Ham have regrouped. Moutinho in the heart of the West Ham half of the field. Out to the left-hand side. Johnny with a chance to pick a cross. Right-footed left back. Checks inside. Finds Neves. Now Bolly comes forward. 15 metres outside the penalty area, but Rice is there again. He's acquitted himself well at centre-back today, and West Ham can counter. Bright finish to the half with Antonio striding to the edge of the Wolves penalty area. Comes inside but runs into Bolly, who wins it back, and now Wolves look to go forward again. Pretty breathless conclusion to what's been a pretty studied half so far. Moutinho out to the left-hand side. One or two players just breathing a little more heavily than they have done at any stage in the game thus far, as it becomes a little stretched. And as we tick towards the stoppage time at the end of the first half, which of the two managers is going to be happiest with the circumstances as they stand, Alvin Martin?
Well, I think that certainly Espirito Santo will be delighted with the way they performed it. I think he'll have felt that maybe they should have a goal to show for it, but I think David Moyes will be delighted that this is a really difficult opposition to face in your first game at home, because they're made for counter-attack. And although they've had a lot of possession and they've asked a lot of questions, I think it's about as solid as I've seen West Ham this year.
David Moyes. The board has got up, and it is just the one added minute that we're going to see at the end of this first half. Wolves will have a throw-in, which Johnny will take. I mean, David Moyes almost taking it himself. They're sort of right next to each other. They're certainly not 10 metres apart. But West Ham have won it back. Antonio midway inside the Wolves half. Comes back to Declan Rice, striding forward and finding Creswell on the left-hand side. Anderson has drawn wide. One last opportunity for West Ham to show something from their first half endeavours. Noble back out to Anderson on that left-hand side. Still 20 metres outside the penalty area. Delayed and delayed. Caught in about 5 minds. Charged down, and Rice has to go all the way back to Fabianski. Keeps the ball moving. Finds Issa Diop striding up towards the halfway line. Looking up for a high ball forward. Anderson's made a run beyond the Wolves line. Cody managed to improvise a clearance. Saiz helped it on its way, and that's the last action of the first half. Wolverhampton Wanderers polished and together as always. I've seen a lot of the ball, but the more the half has gone on, the more West Ham United have found some real threat on the counter-attack. There isn't not been a single chance, gaping chance, that you would look back on and feel that either side really should have scored. And as we give the artificial crowd 15 minutes to catch their breath and resort to the piped music, I can tell you that here on TalkSport at half-time, it's West Ham United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0.
Thank you, Clive. I'm Faye Carruthers here at the TalkSport studios. And yeah, not the most entertaining first half, but if with the earlier games are anything to go by, then we're in for a cracking second half, because there's been some late drama across the Premier League and, of course, across TalkSport here today. But let's get the latest from the Betfair Exchange, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage.
Game day on Talk.
Half-time betting on the Betfair Exchange, Faye. It's now 7-2 West Ham to go on and claim all 3 points. That's 4.5. Wolves currently 2.44. That's 7-5. The draw, no surprise, has been backed in from 5-2 into 13-8 now, which is 2.64. In correct score betting, if you think it's going to stay 0-all, that's 3.95. It's just a little, nearly 3-1. If you think it could be 1-0 to the home team, that's 7.6, which is 13-2. Or 1-0 to the visitors to Wolves is currently 4.5 on the Betfair Exchange. That's 7-2.
So our charity bet is a draw and both teams to score. So we need some goals. How are we looking?
Yeah, it's not looking good for you so far anyway, Faye, unfortunately, but fingers crossed that you a 1-1 draw will do you perfectly. All you need is a score draw in this game to win £500 for the Bobby Moore Foundation.
Fingers crossed for our charity partners. Thank you, Barry Orr. That's all thanks to the Betfair Exchange. More ways to bet, more ways to win. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Game day.
Taking a deflection off a passing seagull and completely wrong-footed the keeper. Brighton go 1-0 up and are staying in the Prem.
EPL matches 19th to the 22nd of June. Minimum odds 1-2. Free bet valid for 48 hours. Awarded at bet settlement. Excludes cashed out bets. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Finding your
A space. With rapid charging in under an hour and room for 4.2 cubic meters of cargo, add the Nissan ENV200 to your team from only $299 a month on business contract hire. Nissan Commercial Vehicles, built.
This is Game Day exclusive on TalkSport. I'm Faye Carruthers. Thanks for being with us on a Saturday evening. 4 back-to-back commentaries on TalkSport today. The second half of West Ham against Wolves is coming up shortly. That's followed by Bournemouth against Crystal Palace, which is where we'll head now. Our match commentator at the Vitality Stadium is Nigel Adderley.
Yes, good evening, Faye. The local how or if the Premier League should resume.
Wolves, the line of West Ham was perfect, you know. I know that David is really hot on that, you know. How do you defend? Where's your line? Where are we all going to be? And it makes it very difficult for the delivery to be accurate when your line is perfect, which it was then.
Free kick has been given for a foul by Ngakia on Jimenez on the far touchline. West Ham aren't convinced that it was quite as serious as Jimenez is making out. It's about 15 metres from the corner flag, right over on the touchline. And so once again, Roman Saiz and Willy Bolly are forward from that Wolves back three. Connor Cody never ever goes forward. He has not had a single goal attempt in the 2 seasons since Wolverhampton Wanderers were promoted.
He's valuable to them, though, isn't he?
He contributes in many ways.
Yeah.
There's wonderful diagonal passes and the example he sets. Moutinho with the free kick into the near post where it's flicked on by Saiz. Not quite what he intended, but Wolves have retained possession with Jota. Now swept in by Neves, headed away by Souček. Up to the halfway line where Cody does gather the ball and plays a really good pass into the penalty area. Well defended by Aaron Creswell, though, for West Ham United. And again at the second attempt, he volleys away the ball away and almost connects with Antonio on the break. But Wolves have it back with Matt Doherty, right-hand side, 15 metres inside the West Ham half, all a little bit crowded. Manages to force it forward to Dendoncker, but his touch is heavy. West Ham United have it back with Rice. Out to Creswell, left-hand touchline, dinked forward, looking for Antonio to get in behind Bolly again, but it wasn't quite the pass he intended. But Souček wins it well from Neves, and Anderson, who's been a little peripheral so far, plays it to Noble. His pass wasn't quite strong enough for Ngakia, but he managed to recover it. And Noble has it again, comes back to Rice on the halfway line, out to the left-hand side, and Creswell played up to Fornals, and back to Rice again. It goes back to Fabianski. 4-4-2 West Ham. Fabianski in goal. Back four and Ngakia, Diop, Rice and Creswell. Declan Rice playing as a centre-back in a back four. Noble and Souček at the heart of midfield, with Fornals on the left, Anderson up front with Antonio, and Jared Bowen on the right-hand side. Anderson's on the ball, the heart of the Wolverhampton Wanderers half of the field, being forced back by Ruben Neves. Does well, though, to find a forward pass to Noble, and out to Creswell on the left-hand side. Fed in by Anderson to Noble. Creswell once more. Anderson. Noble. Swept out to Ngakia. Very concise build-up this from West Ham. Ngakia's cross is a little untidy, though, and Sight is able to deal with it high into the air. And Ngakia rather got underneath that and couldn't clear his lines. And Jota has gathered it in. He's got Jimenez ahead of him and links with him. And Jimenez is just out the West Ham penalty area. And he tried to play a clever ball with the outside of his foot early back in towards Jota and just slightly overhit it, Alvin.
It was a perfect opportunity. I think, again, West Ham just did enough to make it more difficult for Jimenez. We could see what he was trying to do. Just try and caress the ball with the outside of his right boot, round about where the penalty spot was, and he, just like you said, maybe got too much on it, and West Ham had enough bodies in there to be able to cope with it. But again, it's another example of the game nearly firing into life with one moment, and I'm sure that West Ham are looking at maybe probably being a bit more adventurous in the second half, but at the same time that will obviously give more opportunity to Wolves on the counter.
Almost 10 minutes of the second half played. West Ham 0, Wolves 0 on TalkSport, with Nissan Commercial Vehicles, built to deliver. Free kick taken from the wrong position and finds its way back to the correct spot, which is about 12 paces inside the Wolves half. Creswell takes it, and it's a good one, searching one out to the far side towards Bowen, and Johnny doesn't deal with it, and here's Bowen into the dead ball line, but he can't control his cross, slices it behind. I think he was maybe caught as much by surprise as Wolves were by the quick free kick from Creswell.
Yeah, we were right behind that, Clive, but he fired it, didn't he, Creswell? Struck it really well. Johnny did, pretty well, to be fair, to be able to get to, but Bowen wasn't going to give up on it, but he just wouldn't come down quick enough for him on his right foot. He just wanted to be able to help that into a dangerous area, and he got it wrong.
Goal kick to
Bowen into the
Wolverhampton Wanderers, taken by the left foot of Rui Patricio, headed on by Doherty, out of play for a West Ham throw-in just inside their own half.
Yeah, we were right behind that, Clive.
Aaron Creswell has the ball, and he also has his manager breathing down his neck. Creeping forward as far as the halfway line before releasing it, but over the head of Antonio, and it's swept away by Cody, headed on by Jimenez, won back by Diop. Really is a bit of a stalemate at the moment. Seen one or two games already which have taken time to come to life, but Creswell has made an unforced error, and Wolverhampton Wanderers have possession now just outside the West Ham penalty area, but Jota is forced back by Souček. Cody to Neves, and now Saiz quickly out towards Johnny, reaches him via another pass from Moutinho into Moutinho again just outside the penalty area, but he sold Neves short, and West Ham have it back, and Moutinho brings down Anderson, and there's the first statistic of the game, a yellow card for Moutinho for the foul on Felipe Anderson. Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace is coming live on TalkSport from 7:45, and Nigel Adderley has the team news.
And 3 changes for Bournemouth, Clive. The most significant one sees David Brooks make his first appearance for 14